Hello, I'm Ben Starkin. I work for Cirrolite. We represent Dadolite and Kineflow in the UK, and I'm here joined with Mr. Roman Hoffman from Dadolite in Munich, and Mr. Jonathan Harrison, who is a DOP,
Allegedly.
lots of different things, but
Yes.
a lighting cameraman. And we're here to look at some new products, really. We have quite a lot from Dado this year. You guys are always kind of pretty busy doing lots of different lighting implements, including the well-known DLH4. Roman, do you want to sort of tell us a little bit about Dado for people who don't know what happened?
Yeah, hello. My name is Roman Hoffman. I'm the marketing manager of Dado Weigert Film. Dado Weigert Film is a Munich-based, German-based company. We are manufacturer of the Dadolite precision lighting products, but we are also distributor of many other lighting brands and camera accessory brands. So we are in the business, or Dado Weigert, the inventor and manufacturer of the Dadolite, is in the business since 1961. He used to be a cameraman. He was traveling a lot. So in the beginning we were a production company, then we became a rental company, and in the 80s Dado started to become a professional manufacturer, so he started to include all his knowledge into the manufacturing of professional lighting equipment. So today's equipment that we offer is very much focused on usability, on comfort, for image makers all over the world in many sections of our business.
Okay, so I'm familiar with that too, and I've seen, you know, how useful some of the gear is, and I know obviously the tungsten units have evolved over the years, and now we're at the 150 watt DLH4, which has been amazing and very useful and very handy. But we've got some gear here which is different now, and I've only seen some of it, but I'm kind of a little bit shady on like everything. I know that there's sort of the new 40 watt, but do you want to run us through a little bit and just tell me about?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this IBC, we focus a lot on LED. Just to mention the traditional light sources. I mean, there are many light sources that are very professional and that have a very high color rendition, let's say, and we had a lot of problem with LED, and still many people have a lot of problem with LED. So we were very much involved in LED development. So actually, what we offer today is not an LED source, but we still are offering instruments with an LED source inside. But the sources that we offer have a very high color rendition, which means that actually you can mix with traditional light sources without any color defect. So what we have here is again instruments on camera, on board instruments. This is like the big brother of the very famous Dadolite Ledzilla.
Yeah.
For some people, the Ledzilla, which has 8 watts, was not strong enough, so we developed a 20 watt onboard light, which for now is in daylight or in tungsten, but in near future you will have it also as a bicolor version. And here it is, the big advantage of LED, that you can put chips, LED chips on one chip, daylight and tungsten LED chips, which means that you can shift color and you have all the in-between colors. So this is what we offer. But in the end, it is not only an LED light source, but it is an instrument, so you can focus. It is very much convenient to use. You have barn doors, you have many accessories, you can put a softbox on it. So actually when you run around, you have a very strong and powerful, but also a very precise lighting instrument.
Because you've introduced the optics, obviously, and transferred them over from the DLH4.
Exactly,
so,
the optics is like our baby. This is what we are known for. We don't use spherical lenses, we use aspherical lenses, which give us high precision, which means that we have a very even light distribution, we have even color distribution. So from the beginning on, when you start making your image, you have the highest possible quality in light. So this is one of the smallest lights that we have, and it is battery operated. So the next one that we introduce is 40 watt LED light, which is very, very close to the traditional DLH4. But we've changed the focusing mechanism, so focusing works like on a lens, so you focus just by turning this wheel. And very important to know, because many people think that LED do not produce any heat. This is not true at all. So we have a big radiator on the back. So the LEDs give back the heat. We don't have so much forward heat, but there is a big advantage. The LED shines, all the light comes to the front. So we don't have so much light loss in the housing. So this 40 watt LED light is almost as strong as the DLH4 100 and 150 watts. And still we try to be very convenient for the end users. So any kind of accessories that we already offer fit on here. And this one is very convenient for mobile people. And this is also becoming very popular. People want to be mobile, and with lighting you have a lot of cables. This one you don't have to plug into the mains. You can plug it into the mains, but you can run it from the battery.
And obviously you have the option of now going daylight, which is previously only achievable in that conformed by HMI ultimately, and that's quite difficult to power an HMI source with batteries. So
that's exactly the fact. With LEDs you can have either daylight, tungsten or bicolor, and we hope and we think that the bicolor version will be the best seller because it is the most convenient light source or color option that you can have, because you save the second unit.
Well, I want to talk about the color a little bit. So that's a good reason why to have Mr. Harrison here. Because I understand, I know, because I've been working with it, but there's been colour issues with LED, and you've obviously worked hard. Jonathan, do you want to say a little bit about perhaps what's been happening with the colour?
The invention of LED lighting, on one level, has been brilliant. I mean, the rock and roll business is completely transformed that industry, but rock and roll and theatre is completely different from the environment we work in. We work in a colour critical environment, and our whole raison d'etre is to reproduce life faithfully, and if you haven't got a continuous spectrum you can't do that. We're used to tungsten light and daylight, the sun. Technically tungsten filament is the closest thing we have to a black body radiation source, which means you get a continuous rainbow out of it. If you don't, and there are frequency dips, which there are in LED sources and also in fluorescent, if they're not managed or not handled correctly, you can't reproduce life as we see it. There'll be deficiencies, there'll be colour casts, and there are an awful lot of cheap, nasty LED sources out there that, well, you just have to look around the internet with some fairly serious technicians who've done some comparisons, and you'll find that there is some really, really awful stuff out there. People say, well, you can white balance to them, but the whole idea is that we don't use just one light, we mix lights. So if you pick up tungsten light and an LED light that says it's tungsten, you want to be able to use them, key and fill or whatever, but if you put one on one side of the face and one on the other, they should match. And they don't, more often than not. And Kinaflow and Datalight and one or two other manufacturers have been working hard to try and get this right. It's not easy. You get what you pay for with LED sources.
For people who don't know, obviously we've been dealing with it, we've been looking into it, we understand, but what is the reason? I mean, surely an LED is an LED. Normally you would think it produces a daylight source, because we know that they're blue. But I mean, what's the problem? Why isn't there a consistency? Why aren't companies doing that?
Stokes Gap. If you want to have some bedtime reading, Google Stokes Gap. It's to do with how LED lights produced. All LED lights start off as a blue light, and with phosphors, that blue light stimulates the phosphors, similar to what's in a fluorescent tube. Effectively, an LED is a fluorescent source. The phosphors fluoresce, but because of science, there's a dip. You'll see a spike of blue and then a dip and then whatever phosphors are on the, whether remote phosphors or backlit, whatever, there's a dip and then a rise of colour. And it's that dip that causes you deficiencies.
Okay.
More often than not, you'll find they're probably magenta. If they're overrun, you'll probably find they get hot and they go green. You can't have these colour casts. It's got to be continuous and it's got to match. If it says daylight, it's got to match daylight. If it says tungsten, it's got to match tungsten. And you find that people who just want to make money just stick LEDs on a circuit board and say, look, it's a light. Yeah, sure it is. It's good for lighting your garage. But when it comes to the most important thing, which is skin, if you can't reproduce skin faithfully, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, because we're dealing with two applications, aren't we? We're used to seeing LEDs and torches and sort of lighting fixtures, and that's that application is called architectural.
Yep.
But we're dealing, obviously, with the moving image industry, and it's completely different.
Absolutely.
And if the manufacturer is dedicated to an architectural fixture, they're not worrying about colour. They're not worrying about how that's going to reproduce on a surface, or sometimes or on a surface with a camera looking at it, especially. So, you know, that's obviously the problem we're running into, and as I understand it, some manufacturers aren't looking at it in that way. The manufacturing. I mean, Roman.
Not many manufacturers are looking at it. So we've been in research of LED quality for the last 5 to 7 years. So I mean, the first LED sources came up and it was a big trend like 7-8 years ago, and everybody ran to them and everybody wanted to have it, and nobody suddenly, even professionals, didn't care about anything about skin tone, about efficiency. Everybody was like, it was a hype, yeah. Mm-hmm. Then there were serious projects, also serious system integration projects, where traditional light sources were ripped out and replaced by LED sources. Today we know that those sources are not good enough. Mm-hmm. Because only today we have experience with LED. I mean, in the beginning, the manufacturers of the light source, of the LED light sources, claimed that the LED will last or will work without any loss in quality, in color, and intensity for 100,000 hours. If you ask a serious LED manufacturer today, he is gonna say that it's maybe 50, 20, 15, and if you ask for a written, statement, then it's going to be hard. So we had to make our own experience. So we did it scientifically, but we discovered that scientific instruments is not almost the best instrument to measure the LED. So we had to go back to Stone Age methods. So we discovered that each kind of camera, or many camera types, be it 3 sensor cameras or one CMOS camera or CCD cameras, they see LED in different ways. So we stick cameras in front of a talent, and then we did, like Jonathan said, we did lighting tests. And we discovered big differences. So we had to adapt. We had to talk to our LED manufacturers, and in fact, we are very, very close to very high results, and this is what we try to do. Not only providing a hype. Yes, LED is a light source that fits into the lighting business, but it is not the only light source, and it's definitely not going to replace everything. Mm-hmm. There is a lot potential that LED can still be developed. So there is actually LED development is changing all 3 months, so we have to get along with that. So this is why our slogan is that we don't sell LEDs, we sell instruments, and this is what professionals like Jonathan know about. It is very important to control light, to know which light is needed for which situation. Is it a studio situation? Is it a mobile situation? Am I alone on the set? Do I have to carry around a lot of equipment? Mm-hmm. So size matters, quality matters, control matters, and this is what we are actually into.
Yeah. I've noticed that, like you said, people get very excited about LED because it solves some problems that we never had before. Daylight being one of them, providing a daylight source, portability, power, but battery run location lights. not having to rely on a domestic main source or a generator or anything like that, being able to go out there and shoot. And obviously that's really exciting because that's, you know, that was a limitation, but we always considered was just a fact. You know, you have to do that, you have to take that into account. But now, with the introduction of these, I think perhaps that's what's happening. People are not, you know, omitting and not considering what's really coming out of them, what it's looking like, and just thinking, right, I have a light source and I can do it, you know, without having to plug it in anywhere, which is beneficial, but it's got to be considered. That brings. I want to talk about the other fixtures we've got here as well. I also represent. Well, yeah, we've got a couple of panel lights, and I want to look at. Roman, this is your remit here, so tell us a bit more about this one and how it came about and what it does and why it's special.
Yeah, actually, there is not so much special about this light except for its quality. There are many LED panels out there, and the main defect, let's say, of them is the color quality. So again, this is a standard 30 by 30 centimeters LED panel, but what makes it different from others is the color quality of the LEDs. Then we have many options that are already included, also price-wise. So many of the options are for free. They come with the light head itself. And it has a special quality of LEDs in color and in intensity. So this one we have in standard output and in high output version. The standard version is 25 watts and the high output version is 50 watts. So 50 watts means that again you can easily work with a 95 watt-hour battery from the unit for at least 2 hours, and you don't have any kind of cables. And again, like this is a simple light. It is a soft light. You have soft shadows, and we've brought also a more let's say advanced fixture, and Jonathan is going to talk about that as well. So this is a runaround light. But the quality of the light makes it also very desirable for studios because the price-performance ratio makes it very attractive. So
is this bicolor?
This is also this is bicolor. I mean, there is one big advantage of good LEDs is, and also the electronics, is that when you dim them, you don't lose color temperature. And Jonathan knows about that. Working with tungsten lights means that when you dim, you lose color temperature. So this can be an advantage. But having two different kind of LEDs, tungsten and daylight, you have all the in-between colors, so you can match mixed light situation.
So. Well, and also one thing while I'm there before I continue, Jonathan, is just that something I have noticed that I want you to talk about, Roman. Is this looks kind of crude on the front here. But I've seen LEDs which are lensed with something like a diffuser right on the front of them, which looks neat and tidy. Can you tell me why it looks the way it is and what that's there for?
Actually, diffusion on LED panels is very much necessary because when you look into LEDs, it's very much blinding. When you stand behind the camera, you don't see that, but the talent gets the whole punch of this blinding dots.
It's dreadful, isn't it? Because I mean, I find it. There's a lot of manufacturers out there just stick LEDs on a panel and call it a light, but what they don't do is stand in front of it. As Roman said, you stand behind it and it lights. But standing in front of those, especially a studio full of those without any diffusion on the front, you walk out of that studio for about half an hour, you just see magenta or green dots, and it's unbelievably painful and unpleasant. Even if you got diffusion right on the front, you can still see dots. But because that's lifted off, it integrates all the sources and makes life a hell of a lot more comfortable for the person standing in front of it. So well thought out.
So in the next step, I think, is the more advanced fixtures, and we brought a KinoFlow fixture, and again, color matters. And here again, I think Jonathan, as a consultant of system integrators, can tell.
The celeb is lovely.
Let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at this guy.
Baby.
Thank you. Right. Yeah. I mean, I obviously know Keenflow very well, and we all do, and it's been in industry for a long time.
Yep.
And they are a soft lighting company primarily.
Yep.
They are designed to often light skin very softly and be a flattering light. Boom. And and so Jonathan, I'll let you, as you're right there, talk about this a little bit, what Keenflow have done.
Button here, as we say.
Right.
The Celeb is kind of the LED replacement, or step up from the well-known Diva Light 400, which is sort of a world beater in terms of Doco lighting, and I've had my Diva Light for goodness knows ever since they've been out. They just keep going and going and going. It's the first lamp out of the truck, but the thing I've always wanted with the Diva is that battery powered, because it's only 220 watts, and it's been kind of frustrating on the level, because for years and years before lightweight fluorescent were around, we always used to run around with sun guns, which were 400, 650 watts. So you used to have this huge battery, and it was a pain in the neck. And if you wanted daylight out of it, you used to have to put full blue on the front, so losing power. But you still had to have, I used to have a couple of really expensive batteries, lead acids, that used to recharge, or nickel cadmiums, and they were a fortune to run. But Keenflow finally come out with the Celeb, which is 100 watt, runs off mains or 2 V-Lock batteries, and this will run for about somewhere between 2.5 and 3 hours. 24 volts, lovely, beautiful, soft diffuse panel. This is dimmed down to.
Let me get a shot at the back of it, just so people can see what's going on there.
That's dimmed down to 1%.
Yeah.
You need to point it at the camera for a second. That's about 1%. It's difficult to actually see the actual output.
Yeah.
The output's virtually the same as the Celeb, as the Diva 400.
Yeah.
Tiny little bit of difference, but the quality is fantastic. And the difference is that you can switch between tungsten. Let me dim that so that you can see.
Maybe point it at Roman or something, you can see it off, rather than pointing at the camera, try and show what it's doing. Oh, sorry, Roman.
Yeah.
That's nice of me.
Sorry about that, sir.
So we've got some in tungsten.
It has
there.
a coarse and fine dimming, which is actually quite nice. If you just want to, if you're tracking in and you want to just dim it gently, you can do.
There you go. You've got a nice shot of Roman to demo it there.
But it has 5 presets from 2700, standard tungsten 3.2, 4000, 5000 and 5500. So that's daylight. We're in tungsten here, so that, yes, it does look a bit blue, and it should do. But Keenflow have made this 3.2 and 5.5 to match their Keenflow 55 and KF32 tubes. Colour. Yes. Give it thumbs up. They've worked hard on this. It's taken some time to get out. Getting colour right on LEDs is not easy. You get what you pay for. If you want to pay €100, then you get €100 worth of LED light. If you pay for this, you get something that is extremely well built, well thought out at the back, battery powered, dims, colour shift, DMX. I put these into a few studios. There's a new version of this coming out that's Celeb 400. Been released this week.
We're expecting. It's being announced here, but I think we're talking November, December. But that's people getting hold of them. Eventually. So,
but the good news is Keenflow is a company that actually says when it's coming out, and it does. Which is great because there's nothing worse than having a finished product that sits there and, like certain camera manufacturers, let's say, they say, oh, it's coming. You know, 3 years later, you're still waiting for it. But no, this is a great tool. It's relatively lightweight. extremely well manufactured. I mean, you've got to have stuff that bounces, because we bounce around the planet in aircraft, in cases, and you've got to have something that's rugged. I find the Kino and Dado stuff just.
I've seen a lot of LEDs out there, and I just worry for their, how long they're going to last for. And what I also do like about that is we touched on it earlier with the, making that soft diffusion, because you have to have it, and that you've already got it. I mean, it's permanent there, isn't it? It's not going to go anywhere. And I'm looking at it, and honestly, unfortunately, this is going to happen at this show. You walk past a booth, and you'll just happen to look in the wrong direction where an LED panel is. You look away, and all you see is spots for a while.
Well,
and you don't get that.
Let's have a little poke at LEDs. It's not very comfortable sitting under these lights, is it?
Not particularly.
They're hard point sources, but when you have a nice, soft, even panel of light, it's much easier on the presenter, easier on the eye, and actually, in the world of HD, lighting with something that's slightly softer than a real hard Fresnel gives you, for me, a much, much better image, because badly lit stuff, hard lit, you see every blemish in the skin, you have nose hairs and ear hairs, not attractive, especially in big close-ups on a 52-inch plasma. But this stuff, small studios, large studios, gives a fabulous light, and as all good DOPs will tell you, lighting control is everything. And with the honeycombs, you've got the ultimate control in terms of 60 degree or 90 degree honeycombs.
Controlling that spill,
Controlling the spill, giving you a tube of light where you want it. You can paint with it, not just spray it everywhere where an awful lot of other lights fail.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, it's obviously it is. LED technology's been around for a while, but it's still in its infancy, as lots of people do say. And Rome and you guys over in Munich are doing an amazing job, sort of controlling it and dealing with the colour. And it's it's great that it's happening, but there's just not that many people doing it.
No, I mean, for us it is important not just to raise a hype. We still need to deliver instruments. Because in the end it's the image, it's the vision that you have to create, and for that you need the proper instruments. So it is not about LED. I mean, it is about the instrument and how to translate the vision into an image. So and for that, of course, you need absolute control. And Jonathan just lit up a big booth here over, and I mean, he used a lot of light here, but still when you come there you don't see the light, you see the mood. And for that you cannot do it with big light sources, uncontrollable light sources. You need proper instruments.
Lighting that complements each other, and you guys produce some real nice soft lights as well, but ultimately it started with a hard controllable light, which is and it's great that we've got that. But I think we're done on time, so
just to say, if anybody watching wants to actually see Kino and Dado light at work, go and have a look at the Sony booth. There's 2 sets there I've lit. One with the jazz set, and one is the courtyard set.
Yeah, it's got a nice
it's all
combination
Kino and Dado, beautiful light.
Is that hall?
That's hall 9, I think.
Hall 9.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Well, Roman, really good to see you. Pleasure. Once a year. It's nice to see you. Thanks for coming on, Jonathan.
Pleasure.
Much appreciated. I think we're good. So thank you very much for watching. Go and check out Sony. Have a nice IBC.